Hey there, guitar fanatics. Welcome back or welcome to the channel. You know, there's obviously multiple components that go into making up a great guitar solo, one that's truly memorable. Your note choices, a great tone, and emotive phrasing and dynamics are all super important. It's been my experience as both a teacher and a player. Maybe the quickest way to go from sounding like an inexperienced lead guitar player to sounding more professional is to spend some time getting your use of rhythm together. And I'm talking about a lot more than just being able to play notes along with a beat. We're going to do a deep dive on 3 rhythmic concepts that the pros use to give their licks and lines that something extra that make those notes really stand out. Do me a favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I'm Charlie Long. Let's play some guitar. So the first concept I want to talk about is space, which I guess we could refer to as the art of knowing when to play nothing. There's an old saying that what you don't play is every bit as important as what you do play. And that's a tough concept sometimes for guitarists that are just starting to get their lead thing together. Because hey, let's face it, it's human nature to want to show off what you know. The flip side of that is maybe you're a little insecure with your playing and you really want the people around you to see that you've got some skills. I see it a lot when I go out and play at blues jam sessions. In our excitement and urge to impress, it's pretty easy to play something that sounds like this. Now, while there weren't any really wrong notes in what I just played, that kind of playing can sound really bad because it's kind of like listening to somebody read a story out loud and they ignore every bit of punctuation. It just becomes a gigantic run-on sentence. And when you do that playing solos, all the notes sort of run together and it just sounds like noodling. And what you're going to find is you gain experience as a player that space is the ultimate tool for drawing the listener in and setting up all the cool things that you're going to play later. You know, we've all been around people at a party, they never stop talking and it's inevitable. We just start to tune them out after a while. There's also that person in the group that doesn't say much, but when they do speak, they always say something funny or something meaningful. Let's try to be like that when we build our guitar solos. Especially in a medium like the blues where we want our solos to be more conversational, space is so important. If you can play a phrase and pause, the people that are listening to you are going to go, whoa, there's some space there. I wonder what's coming next. So here's a practice exercise for you, and we're going to play it over that same blues backing track, but it really works on any kind of music. The idea is to play a short phrase, and then after you finish that phrase, I want you to wait an entire measure before you play another one. I'm going to try one here and even exaggerate those pauses a little bit. Here we go. You know, that's just a great way to practice. It gets you used to the idea of leaving space here and there, and the lines that you start to hear in your head are going to be much more conversational in nature. By the way, if you're looking to get into blues soloing, I have a great course available. I'm going to put a link in the description below if you want to check that out. And that leads us to concept number 2. Concept number 2 is to mix up the subdivisions that you play in your licks and lines. You know, in that first example I played over the blues backing track, not only did I fail to leave any space, but I also cranked the boredom factor way up by playing mostly straight eighth notes through the entire thing. Let's do a simple exercise, and then we're going to play some licks to get you thinking about how you can combine different subdivisions to make your licks and lines more catchy and interesting. Let's just use E minor pentatonic pattern 1 up at the 12th fret, but you can do this with any scale that you know. What I want you to start out doing is just to ascend through the scale for 4 beats playing eighth notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On the first beat of what would be the next measure, I want you to switch to eighth note triplets for 4 beats, wherever you are in the scale, whatever note that falls on. Now, in this case, we finished on the A at the 14th fret of the G string, so we would switch to our triplets at the B note at the 12th fret of the B string. So here's our eighth notes again. And then we have triplets. Then on the first beat of the next measure again, we would switch back to eighth notes. And then triplets, and then eighth notes. So what I want you to do, continue until you really get the hang of it, and then we can start to devote fewer and fewer beats to each subdivision. And ultimately, we would end up playing maybe 1 beat of eighth notes and 1 beat of eighth note triplets, and that would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can start mixing up all sorts of different subdivisions and really start to challenge yourself. How about eighth notes and 16th notes? So 1 and 2 E and a, 3 and 4 E and a. We could play eighth note triplets and 16th notes. So 1 triplet, 2 E and a, 3 triplet, 4 E and a. We could do eighth note triplets and 16th note triplets. How about 16th notes and 16th note triplets? I especially like the sound of splitting 1 beat with an eighth note and then a 16th note triplet. You hear repeating licks in blues and rock like this all the time. You can make a little run out of it, shifting up through some pentatonic shapes. And I heard the great young blues player Marcus King play a variation on this where he kind of slides into the first note of that eighth note and then a triplet. Before going on into a flurry of other notes. Great stuff. So now that we're getting comfortable with that concept, let's make up a couple of licks over our blues backing track. The first one's going to start off with a nice pickup. We're going to start on the and of 3. 1, 2, 3. So we've got eighth note followed by that eighth note triplet. Then we're going to play some bluesy bends and longer sustain notes. We leave a little bit of space and then we do a triplet run going to the 4 chord. And then after that run, we'd sit on the A note at the 15th fret and leave some more space before starting another phrase. Pretty cool stuff. Check it out. Here's a little more advanced lick, and here's something I picked up from Joe Bonamassa. Joe is pretty well known for playing fast pentatonic runs, but he does this thing where to my ears it sounds like he's shifting gears or like a snowball rolling downhill gaining momentum. And what he does to set that sound up is to play increasingly smaller subdivisions with a phrase like this. What he does to get that sound, he starts out with an 8-note triplet, followed by 4 16th notes, followed by 3 quintuplets, or those famous Eric Johnson groupings of 5. So this consecutive string of more notes crammed into each beat, it has the effect of feeling like he's stepping on the accelerator of a sports car. So here's the lick played slowly. One more time. And what sets it up even more is those kind of B.B. King sounding licks that we played before it, followed by a good 2 beats of space, and then again our snowball going downhill lick, followed by more space. Now here's the concept of mixing subdivisions in more of a rock context. Check this out. This backing track is a really dramatic ballad, and when I went to play a solo over it, the way that it builds into the solo section, I want to make a very dramatic entrance. So I did this tapping lick that's comprised of mostly 16th note triplets, but then it segues into these long sustained bent notes. I feel like this mixture of flashiness and passion has the effect of a double whammy, grabbing attention with the opening fast playing, but holding that attention with these slower screaming bent notes. So that leads us to concept number 3. Concept number 3 is to start your licks and phrases on a note other than the first beat of the measure. By that, I mean you should start your licks not only on a beat other than the one, but also on different subdivisions, like in the middle of a beat. I'm going to play a little solo over another backing track, and the first time through, I'm basically going to start every phrase right on the 1 as the chord changes. The second time through, I'm going to start phrases in a variety of places. For instance, the first phrase I play, I give it a little rest and I start on the and of 2. I think you're going to hear a huge difference. Check this out. So here's a simple practice drill that you can use to start to develop your sense of how to start your licks on beats other than that one of the measure. You can play over a click or a metronome or find a nice simple backing track to play over. What I want you to do is play a lick that starts on the 1, like this simple pentatonic lick. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we rest a measure, and then in the next measure, we're going to play that same lick that starts on the and of 1. Then we would rest a measure, start the same lick on the 2. Rest a measure, start the lick on the and of 2. We would carry on all the way through the measure like that, all the way to 4, and then we'd start over with another lick. So let's give this a try real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and. So there you have it. 3 rhythmic concepts that if you spend some time with them, it'll really transform your playing. And when I say spend some time with it, you got to give this some thought. Break things down, write some licks, experiment with different timing, different subdivisions. It's not always intuitive, it's definitely not easy, but if you're really going to reach your potential as a player, these are the kind of things that you need to develop. As always, thanks for watching the video. I'd love it if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out more lesson content every week. And as I always like to say, work hard, play hard, have fun, and never stop learning. Until next time, happy guitaring.